This is ATRT squad reporting in. No sign of separatist activity.
Hi, my name is Daniel and you're watching the Rogue Clone Trooper channel. Last year I promised you that I was going to start building a fiberglass Clone Trooper costume, which I had bought, unboxed and showed you for the very first time. And you're probably wondering what the hell's going on. Well, basically I have been trying to pay it off and raise enough money then to buy the parts that I need to actually build it, and I've started. Okay, so that's the good news. I've had to go out and learn a whole new set of skills, which I'm going to show you in the upcoming videos. Shows you the mistakes that I made and talk about them, and hopefully then help you not make the same mistakes. Basically I'm going to show you how to get your fiberglass piece like this to look like this. Okay, so keep watching and I'm going to show you how to make a lovely piece of armor from your fiberglass pieces that you've bought on eBay. Okay, first of all I just want to give you a quick close-up of this one. As you can see, it's completely seamless on the sides, and I have cut out the back part to allow your foot to go in. When I said about this build, I talked to quite a few people that have been building this. One of them is the Clone Trooper Chronicles. Very nice guy. You can find him on Instagram and on Facebook, and he gave me some tips on how he built his one, and he has an amazing armor. Go and check him out. And what he had done was just cut, lined up, put a piece in behind and glued it together and then filled up the gaps. I was thinking about that, but I wanted to make mine a little bit more stronger. So what I have done is basically you take the two parts, and these will actually fit inside each other. The way the guy has actually made them, they do actually overlap and fit inside. Now it does take a little bit to get them into place. Don't be scared, they do fit. Okay, and just take a little bit to get them in place, but there you go. They fit like this. Okay, so what you end up having to do is, well, what I ended up having to do was basically find out my leg size, fit it, cut it to the right shape of my leg, then overlap them, tape them off, mark the join lines, and then glue them into place. Once that was done, then I got my Bondo and actually bonded, which is a kind of car filler. I put that on it, so that's a whole new set of skills that I had to learn to do that. So I'm going to show you how I did that and how I cut out the back to make you be able to put this on over your foot. So stay tuned. Okay, so before we start, I'm going to go through some of the items that you're going to need for this build. Okay, this is what took me so long to actually start doing this, was trying to get all these items together. Okay, one first thing you need is something to stick your pieces together. A lot of people use E6000, which is quite easy to get in America and Europe, but here in Japan I have to order it specially, and it comes in very small tubes. So I wanted to find something that was going to work just as well for me here in Japan. So my equivalent is this, which is called Big Bond. It's the Japanese version of E6000, and it works very well. Okay, it's the exact same type of product, and it sticks anything together. So that's something that I found. I recommend you go down to your local hardware store, talk to them there, tell them what you're going to do, and see what they recommend for you. Please excuse me for sweating. It is very humid here in Japan. It's the middle of the summer. We're actually at about 90% humidity, and that's only in the shade. Okay, so please excuse me for sweating. Since you're working with fiberglass, the other thing you must get, and I say must because you do not want bits of fiberglass going inside your lungs. you'll end up in hospital. It's a good dust mask. Now this is a 3-ply dust mask, which basically protects you against any type of particles. There's lots of them out there. A lot of people go out for 3M masks, things like that, respirators. Do whatever you want, but get a decent mask. Eye protection, get yourself some goggles. I got these because these are fully protection to my face, or for my eyes, and they keep my eyes protected. Also, some type of gloves to be used, because as I said, you're working with fiberglass, there's only bits around, you don't want it getting stuck in your skin, and then when you're sanding and spraying again, you want to have a pair of gloves. So I got these very cheap hardware gloves, which are basically rubberized palms and fingers, and then the back of it's netting, so it helps me breathe, and it's got a nice elastic cuff. This is my second pair. I've had another pair which I've done lots of stuff with my other suits, and they work great. They really need them for protecting your hands. That's highly recommended. You're also going to need to buy some pretty heavy duty clips. Again, you can pick these up at the hardware stores. They come in different sizes and different strengths. What you do need to do though is usually put a piece of cloth or something on these red bits, or if you really want to, you can always stick felt onto it permanently. I don't. I usually use a piece of an old t-shirt in between. You're going to need to have a bond. This is body putty for car repair. They come in different types. There is actually one for fiberglass as well. I didn't know at the time, but I'd already bought this tub, so I wasn't going to have to buy another one. This one will do me just as well. And when I'm doing this, I'll tell you how this works. I've also gone out and I've bought a rubber spatula to help spread it. I have other plastic ones which I used on my original leg piece, but I've gone out and I've bought an extra wide rubber one for the second piece and the other bits of the body armour. And of course, last but not least, is a cutting tool. Go out, buy a Dremel of some sort. Okay, now they don't sell Dremels here in Japan, so I've got this particular cutting tool. It's the exact same thing. You get different types of heads to go on the top. This then has a nice bit where I can adjust the speed on it as much as I want. Now, regarding the Dremel tool, there's different types of heads that you can get to cut your fiberglass. A lot of them come with these basically they're like sandpaper cutters. Okay, they're very fragile. If you drop it, it will smash. When I first started cutting this, I went through about 6 or 7 of these until somebody finally put me onto getting a permanent one, or say a hard one. You can buy hard ones to go onto it, okay, which will work just as well. That's it. The other thing, of course, you need is a Sharpie. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at what excess we have and what we need to cut back on. As with this one, I had to cut a lot of the shapes in that, as you can see, are not formed. Okay, so you need to cut these back out again. So I'll just take your Sharpie pen, whatever you want to call it, and just go around. You can see where it should go. Okay, you can have a good guess of where you should be cutting out. Okay, that's my 2 parts of this one. That's fine for that. And then up here I have the corresponding pieces which I must cut out. Now, any of you people out there who are been making the plastic kits will be freaking out and going, oh, you need to have the overhang on the back of these, and that's fine if you're using plastic, but because we're using fiberglass, I don't want this digging into the back of my leg because it will just cut the leg off you. So we're going to take them away. I've also realized then that you need to put down the back of the calf a bit as well. So we're going to work that in this as well. Now I'm just eyeballing this for the moment. That looks about right to me. Now I do need to cut down the back. Sorry, I'm going the back part as well. Now I know on this one that I had used the ridgeline. Now remember, this suit is not going to be passed by the 501st, and it might get by the Rebel Legion, but that's going to depend on your garrison. Okay, but let's just bear in mind, let's go with the idea that it's not going to get past, first of all because it's fiberglass. Okay, and let's just leave it at that. So how you're doing this is basically to your standard, okay, and how accurate you want it, and you want it to fit you. Now for me, my legs were never going to be this long in my calf, okay, and I'm already 6 foot, but my legs are not going to be that long, just impossible. Okay, and having this down the back of my shoe, I just couldn't move in it at all, so that came off. And looking at other people's armours, even from the 501st, I realised a lot of them were like this, but then they had the ridge line here. So I'm just going for comfortability on it. You can't cut from the top, you must cut from the bottom upwards, because you need this triangle part, and you need as much as this at the back. So if you've got short legs from the knees down, remember you're cutting up from the bottom up. Okay. Now before you do any cutting and you're just marking it, do try them on. Okay. Once you have cut away all the excess at the top, do try them on. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But first we're just going to cut away some of the bits at the top of my one, and then we can start. Right. So we're going to now that's how it's going to clip on the back. If you want to, you can have it that long, but the problem is this is not going to match up at the top. So just going to see now. These will clip together. Okay. Okay, so as I said, they do clip together. What you want to do is though, find out where the comfortable part is for you. Alright. So now that is way too tight for me with that ridge on, and as you can see, for me to get that to there, my ankle just does not, my ankle bone is in the way for this, and that's why I had to cut these completely. Okay, so now that we've got it in position, I've got my Sharpie. I'm just going to run a line there. So now I know where this joins up. Okay. I know that is going to join up like that. Okay. But I have way too much excess fiberglass on the inside and on that. Okay, so I want to cut some of that back piece back, and then this whole thing will sit together a little bit nicer. And as you can see, even when I join these lines up perfectly, they were never going to match. Okay, these were never going to match. So that's why you have to cut them away and reshape the whole piece here. And this part we have to make bigger to allow for our leg. Okay, so first things first is that we're going to take it apart. We're going to draw a new cut line down here, and this is where we're going to cut with the Dremel. And there's a little knob here which I'm going to keep. That's going to help me sit into the other piece. I'm just running a parallel line all the way down, straight as I can. Doesn't need to be too straight. I'm going to cut it with the Dremel. This one goes back a little bit further, so I'm going to give it some of that key piece at the top. Again, I'm going to line it down. Okay. And I'm just going to fit these together again. This, you need to take time with this. Don't rush it. Excuse me, as I said, I'm sweating here now. Humidity. So, yeah, take your time with this bit. It's no rush. And this is one of the reasons why I started with the lower pieces of the legs first, because you need to take your time. I feel that's going to fit in better there. Yeah. That's going to fit better there. Okay, now I put these, the knobs where they should be. This is a bit extra scrap, that's fine. I need that. Okay, that means I have that much to give at the top, which is fine. And the same with that side, and that's where it's going to glue. So we're not going to glue it straight to the line, we're going to give it that little gap. But now I know where I can cut on the inside to give it a bit more freedom as well. Okay, so we're going to cut off all this bit. This will give me a little strip of real estate, which then I can glue onto the inside of the other piece and give it a good bonding. Now, if you're like me, you always forget what you're supposed to be doing, you can always clear it like this, and you know that's the bit you're cutting off. Okay? Don't need to be scared. And this works out great now, because I've got a horrible spur here, which is going to disappear, and I have a horrible finish on the fiberglass here, which is also going to disappear now when I put this away. I'm going to cut some of this out, not too much, just a little bit. Okay, this I'm leaving for the moment. I just want to get the sides done, and we'll carry on from there. There you go. That's the second part taken off. As there's dust still flying around, I am keeping my goggles and mask still on. notice our line has moved a little bit. That's fine. That's where the natural sit now is of the plastic. Okay, so that's where it's naturally going to sit now. Yeah, it's sitting really nice. Now, leave that bit for a second and I'll start cutting out these. Let that cool down a bit. I found that this part here was extremely thick with resin, which is good. I mean, it's going to be nice and strong. So I'm going to have to then shave this down later on with a sanding piece. But that's been pretty good now. Okay, so there we go. Right, okay, just changed over to my phone camera so I can get you some more details. I've just roughly worked out where I want it gone, okay, because I know that this part is too sharp for me. I want it nicely rounded off. I know from my other piece. Now what I would suggest for you, because I'm judging this off my other leg that I've already made. Now what I ended up doing was I ended up cutting these sharp pieces off. I knew I didn't want this, so I cut it off to about here, and then here, hang on a second. Yeah, so what you're going to have to do, okay, is cut off the sharp piece here. Okay, cut all this off, and then find out how much of this you want to cut off as well. Okay, mark it out, and then slowly bring it up to where you're comfortable with. Now I know from my other shin part that this is comfortable for me. Okay, and my judge line for that was the indentation here on the back. I knew that was the top of my leg piece. Okay, and I was able to just freehand it round, okay, to where I know that it's going to fit me nicely. Okay, and so that's really what I suggest to you to do. Your legs are going to be different to mine, so first of all, I said get rid of this piece to line it up. Try it on, see how it fits. If it's tight, it's uncomfortable to move in, you can't move around, slowly cut it up until it's comfortable. Okay, just tape up the sides once you put it on and walk around, try it out and see how it works. I just know this is going to work fine for me, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start cutting that out.